The fascinating history of Qatar from ancient times to modern marvel. Understanding Qatar's history is important because it provides context for the country's current political, social, and economic situation. Qatar is a relatively small country, but it has become a major player in global politics and economics over the past few decades. Its history includes a long period of tribal rule and independence, followed by colonization by various powers, including the Ottomans and the British. After gaining independence in the 1970s, Qatar began to develop its oil and gas industry, which has since become the backbone of its economy. In recent years, Qatar has been involved in various regional conflicts and has faced criticism from some of its neighbors, but it remains a key player in the Middle East and beyond. By understanding Qatar's history, we can better understand its current situation and appreciate the challenges and opportunities it faces going forward. The Middle East region is considered one of the cradles of civilization, where early human settlement dates back to the Stone Age. Archaeological evidence shows that humans were living in the area as early as 8000 BCE and were engaged in agriculture and animal husbandry. One of the earliest known settlements in the region is located at Jericho, which is now part of Palestine. This settlement dates back to around 8000 BCE and was one of the world's first walled cities. It is also believed to be one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited cities. Other important early settlements in the region include Çatalhöyük in Turkey, which dates back to around 7500 BCE and is considered one of the most well-preserved sites from the Neolithic period. Another notable site is Hattusa, the capital of the Hittite Empire, which flourished in the 2nd millennium BCE. Overall, the early human settlement in the Middle East is a testament to the region's rich history and cultural heritage. Through archaeology and research, we can continue to uncover more about these early civilizations and better understand how they shaped the world we live in today. Trade played a significant role in the development of civilization in the Middle East. The Mesopotamian region, which includes present-day Iraq, is often considered the cradle of civilization due to its rich history of trade and commerce. The Sumerians, who lived in Mesopotamia from around 4000 BCE, were among the first to develop a system of writing and record-keeping, which helped facilitate trade transactions. As their civilization grew, the Sumerians began trading with neighboring regions, including Egypt, India, and the Indus Valley. This trade network helped spread ideas, technology, and culture throughout the region, leading to the development of new industries and advances in agriculture, metallurgy, and textile production. The Babylonians, who emerged as a political and cultural force in the region around 2000 BCE, continued the Sumerian tradition of trade and commerce. They established an empire that stretched from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean, which allowed them to control key trade routes and engage in international trade with other civilizations, including the Egyptians and the Greeks. One of the most significant archaeological discoveries related to the Babylonians was made at the Shagra site in al-Ma, which is located in present-day Saudi Arabia. Excavations at the site uncovered a large collection of Kassite Babylonian pottery, metalwork, and other artifacts dating back to the 14th century BCE. The discovery provided important insights into the trade and diplomatic relations between the Kassite Babylonians and the Arabian Peninsula during this period. It also sheds light on the complex economic networks that existed in the ancient world and the role that the Middle East played as a hub of trade and commerce. In summary, trade and commerce played a critical role in the development of civilization in the Middle East, and the Sumerians and Babylonians were among the most influential civilizations in this regard. The discovery of Kassite Babylonian material at the Shagra site in al-Ma provides valuable insights into the ancient trade networks that crisscrossed the region and highlights the importance of the Middle East as a center of economic and cultural exchange. Alexander the Great and the Seleucid Empire had a significant impact on the Middle East region. Following Alexander's conquests in the 4th century BCE, the Greek Hellenistic culture spread throughout the region, including modern-day Syria, Iran, and Iraq. The Seleucid Empire was established by one of Alexander's generals, Seleucus I Nicator, who became the ruler of Persian lands following Alexander's death. The empire expanded over time and included territories such as Mesopotamia, Anatolia, and parts of India. The Seleucids ruled for around 2 centuries until their decline in the 2nd century BCE. Archaeological evidence of Hellenistic influence can be found throughout the region, including the discovery of the 4th century BCE Greek inscription in Qatar, which is believed to have been left by a sailor or trader passing through the region. Other examples include the sculptural works at Palmyra in Syria and the Temple of Mithras in Iraq. The Hellenistic period saw a flourishing of art, architecture, and literature, with Greek philosophy and learning spreading throughout the region. The Greek language became a lingua franca, used for trade, diplomacy, and cultural exchange. The influence of Alexander the Great and the Seleucid Empire played a significant role in shaping the history and culture of the Middle East, and their legacy can still be felt today. Following the death of the Prophet Muhammad in 632 CE, his followers quickly spread Islam throughout the Arabian Peninsula and beyond. Within a few decades, most of the Middle East had been conquered by Islamic armies, and the local populations began converting to Islam. In the case of Qatar, it is believed that the region was initially converted to Islam in the early 7th century CE, during the lifetime of the Prophet Muhammad himself. According to some accounts, a companion of the Prophet named Uthman ibn Affan may have visited Qatar and preached Islam to the locals. During the early Islamic caliphates, Qatar played a strategic role as a trading and transportation hub, linking the Persian Gulf to other parts of the Arab world. The region was primarily controlled by the Umayyad Caliphate from the mid-7th century until the mid-8th century, when it fell under Abbasid control. Under both the Umayyads and the Abbasids, Qatar remained an important center of commerce and transportation, with its ports playing a key role in facilitating trade between the various regions of the Islamic world. However, the region's relative isolation meant that it was often overlooked by the major powers of the Muslim world, and it was not until the 19th century that Qatar began to emerge as an important player in the region once again. Overall, the arrival of Islam and the subsequent conversion of the local population had a profound impact on the region, shaping its culture, politics, and society in countless ways. And while Qatar may not have played as prominent a role in the early Islamic caliphates as some other regions, its strategic location and important role in commerce ensured that it remained a vital part of the Islamic world for centuries to come. The Ottoman Empire's influence on Qatar began in the late 16th century when they established their control over the territory. However, due to its remote location and lack of resources, Qatar was mostly left to its own devices and was not seen as strategically significant by the Ottomans. It was only in the 19th century, when British influence in the region began to grow, that Qatar became more important. In the early 1800s, the British established a presence in the Persian Gulf in order to protect their trade interests with India. Over time, they formed alliances with various local leaders and began to exert greater influence over the region. In 1916, during World War I, the British signed the Sykes-Picot Agreement with France, which aimed to divide the Middle East into spheres of influence for the two powers. As part of this agreement, Britain was granted control over what is now Iraq, Kuwait, and parts of Saudi Arabia, among other territories. In 1917, the British signed the McMahon-Hussein Correspondence with the Sharif of Mecca, in which they promised to support Arab independence in exchange for military assistance against the Ottomans. This was followed by the Balfour Declaration, in which the British expressed their support for the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Meanwhile, in Qatar, the ruler Sheikh Abdullah bin Jassim Al Thani had been cultivating a relationship with the British in order to protect his interests against rival tribes and neighboring powers. In 1916, he signed a treaty of protection with the British, which recognized Qatar as a British protectorate and granted the British control over Qatar's foreign affairs. This arrangement continued until 1971, when Qatar gained independence from British rule. However, the legacy of British influence in the region continues to be felt today, both in terms of political and economic ties, as well as in the ongoing conflicts and power struggles in the Middle East. Qatar's oil reserves were first discovered in 1939 by a British oil exploration company, and production began in 1949. The discovery of oil had a significant impact on Qatar's development, as it transformed the country from a poor desert nation into one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Revenue from oil exports allowed Qatar to invest heavily in infrastructure, education, healthcare, and other key areas. In the years leading up to Qatar's independence from the United Kingdom in 1971, there were growing calls for self-rule and greater autonomy. In 1968, Qatar's ruler Sheikh Khalifa bin Hamad Al Thani declared that he would seek independence, and negotiations with the British began shortly thereafter. The negotiations were successful, and on September 3, 1971, Qatar became an independent sovereign state. The new government was led by Sheikh Khalifa, who served as emir until 1995. Qatar quickly established itself as a major player in the global energy market, and its economy continued to grow rapidly over the following decades. Today, Qatar is a thriving modern nation, with a high standard of living, world-class infrastructure, and a reputation as a hub for business, tourism, and culture in the Middle East. The legacy of British influence continues to be felt, but Qatar has charted its own course as a sovereign nation, and its future looks bright. Qatar has experienced significant economic growth and infrastructure development in recent decades, particularly since the discovery of oil in the 1940s. In the years following independence, Qatar's economy continued to rely heavily on oil and gas exports. However, the government has also made a concerted effort to diversify the economy, investing heavily in sectors such as tourism, education, healthcare, and technology. This strategy has paid off, with Qatar's GDP per capita ranking among the highest in the world. In addition, the country has made major investments in infrastructure projects, including the construction of the world's largest liquefied natural gas (LNG) plant and the Hamad International Airport in Doha. Qatar has also become a major player on the global stage, hosting numerous high-profile events such as the 2006 Asian Games and the 2011 World Petroleum Congress. However, perhaps the most significant event in Qatar's recent history will be the 2022 FIFA World Cup, which will be held in the country. The World Cup has spurred a massive construction boom, with numerous new stadiums, hotels, and transportation infrastructure projects underway. While the event has faced criticism and controversy over issues such as human rights and corruption, many see it as a unique opportunity for Qatar to showcase its modernity, diversity, and hospitality to the world. Overall, Qatar's rapid development in recent decades is a testament to its leadership, vision, and strategic planning. Despite facing numerous challenges and uncertainties, the country has emerged as a thriving, cosmopolitan, and influential nation in the Middle East and beyond. This transformation has been driven by visionary leadership, strategic planning, and massive investments in infrastructure, education, and innovation. In just a few decades, Qatar has gone from a sleepy desert kingdom to a vibrant and modern society that is hosting global events such as the 2022 World Cup. While there have been challenges along the way, Qatar's story is a testament to what can be achieved through determination, creativity, and a willingness to embrace change. During its transformation, Qatar faced a number of challenges. One of the biggest challenges was its isolation and lack of resources. Despite having vast oil and gas reserves, Qatar did not have the necessary infrastructure or expertise to fully exploit these resources. Additionally, its small size and limited population made it difficult to attract foreign investment and talent. Another challenge that Qatar faced was the need to diversify its economy. For many years, Qatar was heavily dependent on oil and gas revenues, but it recognized the importance of diversifying its economy in order to reduce its reliance on these resources. This required significant investments in areas such as education, innovation, and infrastructure. Qatar also had to overcome political and social obstacles. It is a conservative Muslim nation with strict laws and traditions, which made it difficult to attract Western businesses and investors. Additionally, the country had to navigate the turbulent politics of the Middle East and balance its relationships with neighboring countries. Despite these challenges, Qatar has been able to successfully transform itself into a modern marvel. You have just watched a summary of the fascinating history of Qatar. From ancient times to modern marvel, we hope you enjoy it and have learned something. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to share and subscribe for more upcoming videos of The People and Countries Unveiled, A Journey Around the World.